What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Card Quest Wednesday night, the Card Dog. And I've got my co-host here with me, Steve the Hitman Scaladesi. And Steve, right off the bat, I want to lead off with this because I get this question a lot. I see this comment a lot on football card related videos, and that is a comment around football cards of skill position players being so cheap. And what first thing I want to say to that, Steve, before I ask you this question, is that is a blanket statement that you have to be very careful about when you say something like that, because this is the biggest difference. This is the biggest difference between fantasy football and football cards that I want everybody to be aware of. And I want to ask your opinion on this, Steve, on what you learned, because what I see is that fantasy football is very black and white. You either draft a player or you don't. You either buy a player on DraftKings or you don't. You either pick the over or the under on Pick'ems on Underdog. You know what I'm saying? Whereas football cards, there is card sets, card parallels, there's autographs, there's sticker autos, there's jersey patches, there's rookie cards, there's veteran cards, there's the condition of the cards, there's multiple factors that go into that, plus the grade of cards. That's like 10 different factors right there that are all in the gray area of cards that when you're brand new to cards, you may not understand. You may think that it's very black and white because you're used to playing fantasy football. And Steve, I want to ask you, what is the biggest thing you've learned, because you've been playing fantasy football for longer than I have. And I want to ask you, what's the biggest thing you've learned, the biggest difference that you've seen between fantasy football and football cards?
Yeah, it's like you said, there's so many factors to take in. It isn't just opening up a pack and getting a Tom Brady and you're a millionaire. It's not that easy. You want the card that everyone wants, right? And obviously all Tom Brady's hold a certain value. But if your intent is to buy cards to flip or invest long-term in, you're going to want to get involved with sets that are the most sought after. So the prism sets, or the serial numbered cards, or the rookie ticket cards. Those are the ones, like you said, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and it's not just black and white. It's not just this is who that player is. There's more to it than that. And I've seen a lot of other videos with these guys that are like, man, when I got in the hobby, I bought all these raw cards and I sent them in, and I'm like, bam, I'm going to get all these 10s and get rich, right? But the reality is that a card that looks pretty good to you might just be a 7, or it might be a 6, and it might open your eyes. Like, it's not that easy. Like, there is a lot to it. And grading is just one aspect of what you're talking about. So that's a big learning curve. I just got back into like hardcore collecting about less than a year ago. And even for me, it was a rude awakening, because it's different now than it was 10 years ago. A lot different. There used to be a handful of sets. Now you got like 25, 30 sets from Panini every year. So it's big. And you kind of have to figure out what's the go-to. If you're collecting for your personal collection, that's a different story. If you're collecting to buy and flip, you're going to want to look at the scarcest and the most sought after cards.
Absolutely. I love that thought, man. You want to go after the scarce and the sought after cards. You want to go after the cards that other people are going to want to buy. So I think that's very important for everybody to remember. I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. We got JJ Bama, Michael Ham, Corey, Benjamin Rogerio. Guys, what is going on tonight? If you're just joining the live stream, go ahead and smash that like button. Share it out to your friends. Let them know that we're in here. We're about to do some Underdog live betting. You also, if you're not signed up on Underdog, you can get signed up on Underdog using promo code QUEST and get a 100% deposit bonus. It's ridiculous, guys. That offer's still going. 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And it's an incredible deal. I want to ask you, before we dig into week 15, Steve, what was your biggest takeaway? So I know we missed on a couple of our picks the last Thursday night game, with Minnesota at the Steelers, or was it Steelers at Minnesota? Anyway, Steelers at Minnesota. The Minnesota defense bucked up, man. They bucked up, and they actually stopped Ben Roethlisberger pretty good. I mean, he had a good passing night, but I mean, for the first half of the game, Minnesota's defense actually played pretty well, man, much better than expected. And as a result, Najee went under on the total yardage that we were expected to hit. And Deontay Johnson, now he did hit the over on receptions, so that was a win there. And then, of course, Kittle smashed over the weekend. But just as a whole, from Week 14, what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, this might be an obscure takeaway, but apparently Rashad Penny has it. Rashad Penny, a guy that has had a roller coaster of a ride since he was a rookie. He looked like he looked like the college Rashad Penny, not the overweight Rashad Penny or the injured Rashad Penny. He looked amazingly fast, and I think that just goes to show you how in one game everything can change. Now, will he look that way next week? More than likely, but it just goes to show you when these guys are healthy what they can do compared to in the past. So if you have any penny cards, you might want to list them right now.
Yeah, it's a great time to list them. If you can get any profit out of them, and just because the Seattle Seahawks are definitely struggling big time, they'll be lucky to make the playoffs this year. Don't you think, Steve? I mean, I haven't looked at the current picture, but Seattle, I mean, they're now in the last place of their division in a really tough division. I mean, that Monday night game, man, the Rams caught the Cardinals off guard. They had a really good defensive performance there against the Cardinals, able to come out with the win in that game. And so going back to Rashad Penny, though, he's a guy that has struggled with injuries his entire career, and he's had a really good athletic profile, but he's like one of those guys where every year it's like, oh, we get hyped up about Rashad Penny, and then the injuries keep him out for the majority of the year. And that goes to a very evergreen. Every year, people get injured. Every single year, a running back tears his ACL. What do you say to those people that are so, or this year, JJ Bama, Henry Ruggs did something way worse than tearing his ACL, way worse. He's never going to be back in the NFL again. In fact, he's going to be spending the next probably 10 to 15 years in prison. So what do you say to those people who are concerned about investing or collecting cards because a player might get injured or worse?
It's not really something you can predict. I mean, unless they have a behavioral pattern coming out of college or before that. And as far as that Ruggs comment goes, I'll be honest with you. I watch a lot of auctions. His cards are still selling. I mean, I don't know that his entry level or mid level cards are doing a whole lot, but people are buying the rookie ticket autos, and they're buying the patch cards, and they're buying the other auto cards. I mean, I see Ruggs cards selling for over $100, and it's like there's people that must know something we don't, or maybe they don't know something that we do, and maybe that's the problem. But I would say on the more likely side, he'll for sure be out of the league at least a couple years. So while people still have an interest in buying him, that might be the best time to get rid of him now. And actually, going back to your last question about any insights on this past week, if you watched the Rams game, if you looked at who Stafford was throwing to in the red zone almost every time, Van Jefferson.
Van the man.
He was the red zone target almost every single pass attempt.
I'm not going to sit here, pat myself on the back, take a little victory lap, but I've been telling you guys to buy Van Jefferson for months.
No, he's awesome, and he's a Gator, and he's got speed, he's got hands, he's got tons of athletic ability. The thing is that, going back to the injury question, running backs being the most high profile for injuries, obviously. when you do make an investment, you know that you're taking that chance. I mean, even the best players have had ACL tears. I mean, if you decided you weren't going to invest in Adrian Peterson because he hurt his knee one year, you probably missed out, right? So, just be aware that, yeah, there is a shorter window for these guys. We're talking years, though. We're talking 5 to 8 to 10 years plus for the running backs, 5 to 8 on the safe side, unless they're Adrian Peterson, obviously, or someone else elite. But that gives you a lot of time to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. It doesn't mean that because they're not going to play 20 years that there's not an opportunity to invest in them. And I think that's a big, fallacy in the card collecting scene, because people throw money at QBs and some of these guys never see the field. Where's their investment,
Very true. Speaking of QBs, Steve, we've got one of the biggest divisional matchups this week on Thursday night, man. This is a massive game, guys. If you guys are not aware of what's going down tomorrow night, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert. The over-under from Vegas has gone up at an open of 50 points to now 52.5 points. I want to look at the pick'ems for tomorrow night. We got a lot of firepower going into this game.
Yeah, which Chiefs team will show up? That's the question.
Their defense has been playing a lot better as of late. Oh, I got to give a shout out here to Jason Van Castle in the chat there with that Bills Mafia logo, taking the overtime loss to our Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Tom Brady, the overtime touchdown to Rashad Penny. I'll just say, between Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich, man, that was an incredible play call. Some really good play calling. That pass that he had to Mike Evans. I also got to give props to Josh Allen because he did, man. He tried to put the team on his back and said, I'm gonna run it all over the Bucs, and he did. I think he had 115 rushing yards.
Yep. He'll be feeling it this week.
Yeah, he's gonna be a little sore. I saw him take quite a few hits. That one from that one where Devin White drug him down from behind on the sideline. That was the one that I think caused the turf toe. I think that was the initial reports I saw yesterday was a turf toe.
You think he'll miss a game? You think Josh Allen will miss a game?
I don't know, man. Turf toe is pretty painful from what I hear. But Josh Allen's tough, man. I don't think he'll miss a game if it's absolutely critical, and it may hurt his ability to rush. You may see him stand in the pocket a lot more this upcoming week. Lean on the receiving game. Gabe Davis came through again against the Bucs. That definitely was a PI that they missed on Stephon Diggs. In the middle of the route towards the end of the game when Josh Allen was going deep to Diggs, and I can't remember which one of our guys pulled his shirt. He definitely pulled his shirt like mid route, but it was low key. It was on the inside. It was like his left hand, and he pulled the shirt, but only for a second, and then he let go, and the ball was overthrown. But I don't know if Diggs could have got to it, but that's besides the point, right?
Let's see what do we got here for props.
Yeah. So this is interesting. Patrick Mahomes has been very game manager-ish lately. They've been,
so one of them that kind of jumps off the page at me is the Edwards-Helaire one. Now, there's a pro and a con to that bet, and obviously you got to use your best judgment. But you could say, oh, he only played 28% of the snaps last week. True, but he didn't have to play more than that because they were blowing him out. So I think that in a different situation, he's going to play more. And San Diego's probably the worst run defense, maybe second worst in the league. So that might actually be a pretty safe bet. I think that's going to be a shootout. I could see him going over on that one.
It makes sense, man. I'm looking at it, even week 3 at the Chargers, 100 rushing yards on 17 attempts. Yeah, last week only 10 attempts, 37 yards. That's got to be a low. I mean, an average of 3.7, but he did have the 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. And it's a total yardage. It's a total yardage of 68.5. I like that.
Yeah, I think the game stays relatively close, and he gets most of the work, probably most likely. You won't see like there'll be some work share split, but you won't see like the third string guy coming in.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's the specs on Darrell Williams? Okay, dude, so he had the same amount of targets last week, same amount of receptions, but only 2 carries. So it's clear that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is heavily relied on in the rushing game, and it's about 50-50 in the receiving game. Okay, yeah, I'm smashing the over. I like that play.
Absolutely. Let's see. They took Herbert passing yards off the board.
Why do they do that?
Usually it means they're going to change the line.
Oh, yeah, because it's grayed out. It's not.
I actually had one last week that I had picked an over on a guy, Gronkowski, and when I hit submit, it grayed out while I was making the bet, but I had already picked it, and it wouldn't let me do it. So that's something to keep an eye on.
I kind of like the Herbert over on the 0.5 interception.
Yeah, what's he got for yeah, that's
dude, he throws an interception almost every game. I mean, he did not throw one against the Giants last week, but it is the Giants, and good secondaries like Denver, 2 interceptions, 1 Pittsburgh, 1 Minnesota, even 2 against New England, 2 against Dallas. So the good secondaries, he's throwing interceptions, and Kansas City secondary has been playing much better lately.
Yeah. Yeah, the interception one is always a little bit of a gamble, but it looks like trending, over the last several weeks, it looks like he's throwing definitely at least 1 a game, with the exception of, well, yeah, if you look at the last, 6 games, he's got 6 interceptions.
Yeah. Yeah, so the odds are really in our favor, especially as Kansas City's playing better, more balanced. The Honey Badger's been taking more of what he wants. I'm going over on Justin Herbert interceptions. What's up, Lenny Voodoo Rage? He's still a bit salty on the Bills game, the Bills Mafia guys. Just don't send me any death threats.
Can't blame you. It could be worse. Could be a Bears fan.
Yeah, you could be a Bears fan. Oh man, what a game that was Sunday night,
second
dude!
Half was just insane, man.
Roller coaster ride, right? Like,
yeah, they stuck in it all the way to the end, but I mean, Rodgers he did Rodgers things and just tore us apart.
Devontae Adams.
As soon as they took Jalen Johnson off of Devontae Adams, he started going wild. If you look at the first half, I think he only had 1 catch. Then they started playing this zone crap, and then it was all over after that.
I'm actually a big fan of Mike Williams, and he's a guy that could rip off a big play for a lot of yardage in one play. I mean, he is the deep ball threat. Cleared for Thursday. I like that. The heel doesn't have an injury designation. That's wonderful. His yards, and I mean, a lot of games, he was a guy that saw a big increase in rookie cards. early in the year, and then he's kind of quieted off. It's kind of cooled off. But I mean, decent game last week, 6 for 6, 61. The week before at Cincinnati, 5 for 110. So I don't know. I mean, I think you definitely have I think it's like a coin toss, but I think 57.5 is pretty low.
That is pretty low, yeah. And yeah, KC's secondary has been improved, but in general, the KC defense is still giving up quite a few yards.
Yeah, and I just think that this is a game that has got to some points are going to be put up. Some big plays are going to be made. They're going to be throwing the ball. Both of these teams should be throwing the ball more. I think I'm going to go over on Mike Williams, and then either Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill with the 0.5 receiving touchdowns is very enticing.
Yeah, the touchdown over is a little risky. It's hard to predict touchdowns, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty high up there as far as touchdowns scored.
He's due, and that's the thing, man. This is the lull of being due. I mean, we're not chasing touchdowns here from Tyreek Hill. He has been incredibly quiet the last 3 weeks. He hasn't broken 100 yards. He hasn't even gotten he got double-digit targets against Dallas, but not double-digit receptions. So he's another guy that could break off a big play in a heartbeat. I mean, he's due.
That's usually the best time to make a wager.
It's either the yardage or the touchdown. I feel like he's due for a touchdown. I'm gonna go in for the touchdown.
Yeah, let's go with the touchdown. I like that.
That's a 10x. We're at a 10x multiplier right now. What? I feel like that Mahomes rushing yards is pretty low too. 18.5. Rushing yards. He would have hit that here. Like, it looks like about 50% of the year this year, he would have hit the over on the 18.5 rushing yards. I think that's a little bit more volatile, right? That's a little bit riskier, and
it's a little bit of a Hail Mary pick, but I know that the San Diego rush defense is really weak, but I haven't personally looked at how they do against QBs that run the ball, or if that's just all clumped into the same category.
I'm hitting it. I'm going for the 20x. I'm going for the 20x. There you have it, guys. Over on Patrick Mahomes, 18.5 rushing yards. Over on Tyreek Hill, 0.5 receiving touchdowns. Over on Mike Williams, 57.5 receiving yards. Over on Justin Herbert, throwing an interception. Just one. Just got to throw one. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 68.5 total yardage. I'm going over on that as well. I'm going for a $10 bet. Try and win $200, guys.
Make it rain.
And if you guys, yeah, exactly. Make it rain. Now, from here, are there any of these guys that you feel in tomorrow night's game are a buy low opportunity right now? Because based on looking at the market, I do see quite a bit of opportunities in the market, as we still have live basketball, live hockey. We've got college sports going on. We've got people watching live football and in the middle of their fantasy playoffs. So there's still a lot of distracting, exciting live events going on that are distracting people from possibly, getting in on these auctions on eBay. Are there any of these guys in the game tomorrow night that you like as a buy low right now?
For card purposes or fantasy purposes or both?
Yeah, mainly card purposes.
Card purposes. Yeah, I mean, it might be a good time to grab a couple Mike Williams if you can. I've seen some of his rookie cards with autographs on them going for like $20. Honestly, I probably owned like 10 Mike Williams rookies, and the 2 weeks that he had like that massive blow up at the beginning of the season, I sold all 10 of them. So I mean, like, that's how quick it can happen. So, and I didn't even really have to negotiate. Like, I just set a price and people were buying them. And a couple people asked me if I had any more. It was kind of nice. It doesn't happen all that often, but you're talking about a team that, hypothetically could get into the playoffs and go pretty far.
They should get in, man. They're second place. Obviously they have a tough division, but they are 8-5 right now, second place in the AFC West. So I mean, if you look at their overall seed, they're beating Indianapolis right now. They're ahead of the Browns, the Bengals. So they're one of the top seeds as well. They're even ahead of the Buffalo Bills right now. Plug your ears there, Voodoo. New England versus the Colts. Ooh. That's a big AFC matchup right there. What is that? Oh, okay. That's a Saturday game. We got some Saturday games this weekend, Steve.
Ooh, I like that.
Saturday game. That's a Saturday night game. It opened at 45. It has not moved much. We're looking at a 45.5 over under. The spread, Indianapolis minus 2.5. This is another huge matchup. What are you feeling in this game? I mean,
The Patriots defense has been really good, and I think that they'll probably shut down the passing game quite a bit, but Jonathan Taylor's just too good. I don't think any team's going to shut him down. I could see that being like a safety or field goal margin victory type game.
Close game, right?
See, maybe hopefully in the week off, Mac Jones had a little extra side action because we only threw the ball 3 times last week.
A new record for not throwing the ball, like a minimum amount of throwing the ball.
I think the Colts, though, despite their record, have made them a hard team to bet against. They've found ways to win, even when it's not pretty. But Wentz doesn't need to throw for 300 yards for them to win. What's the line on there? I couldn't see it.
The money line?
The point spread.
The point spread, negative. Indianapolis, negative 2.5.
Interesting.
So I'm guessing that's because of the run game there for Indianapolis. The defense has been playing pretty solid. I could definitely see them put some pressure on Mac Jones. It's like they put some pressure on Tom Brady.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of games this year where the Patriots are the underdogs, I don't think. But, it looks like they're just essentially edging the Colts because they're playing at home.
Yeah. Yeah, the Patriots, they got the Bills again a day after Christmas, then the Jags, then the Dolphins. I think those are two. Obviously, the Jags, I'd say that's almost 100% win percentage there, but the Bills are hungry, man. I was on the edge of my seat, dude. I was so nervous on that game Sunday because they wanted it bad, man. You could tell. And now they're going to want it even worse because they're now fighting for their playoff run. That's going to be a fun game there.
Yeah, they've certainly underwhelmed a couple times this year, and I think that they need to go out looking like the skilled team that they are, that we know that they are.
I think I just missed out on a Tyreek Hill auction, but the game tomorrow night, man, I think that Tyreek Hill is definitely a buy low right now.
I agree with that too. I believe it or not, I mentioned it last week. I just got my first Tyreek Hill optic hollow added to the collection. I picked that up last week. Wow.
I
22
didn't put
bucks
my
for a
bid high enough,
9.
brother. It was this red yellow prism SGC 9, and where is see original listing? There we go.
The thing I like about the red and yellow ones is it looks like a color match.
Yeah, I think it looks like, I mean, this is so cheap. It costs $30 to get this card graded. You know?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I would think that the raw card would go for around that price.
That's what I'm saying. Homeboy right here is a buy low. And this was an auction. I mean, it's nighttime auction. I did get outbid. I just put in I hit that $20 button. I should have hit that $25 button because I felt that honestly, I would have paid up to like $30 for this card. You know, first year optic, a little color match, so it is short print. And because it's not the base, we're talking red yellow variation, which is short print, and it's graded to an SGC 9. So those are all variables to take into consideration that are different than what you would do in fantasy football. Like we just underdog, over under, cards, though, many more factors.
Yeah, that guy got a steal. That's a steal for sure. I wouldn't be shocked if he turns around and flips it for $40 right away.
Easy, right? So listed as a buy it now, let it rip.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about, which guys from the Thursday night game to invest in, all those guys are most likely playoff bound. And hypothetically, any of them, if they make the playoffs, could make the Super Bowl. And you're going to have all eyes on all those guys. So if a guy reels off a 80-yard touchdown in the Super Bowl, you're going to have people logging on the eBay to buy the cards. So, obviously you can't pinpoint a guy or a team just yet, but if you can get in cheap on any of these guys, it's very low risk.
Very low risk. And that is why, guys, we have been playing playoff best ball on Underdog Fantasy. And the goal of playoff best ball is to pick the players you think are going to perform the best throughout the duration of the playoffs, because each playoff game is an elimination round. It's like a fantasy football tournament. You just pick a big team and they'll give you the optimized amount of points for each position. And then after each playoff round, the real playoffs, when they start January 15th, each best ball round is a playoff week. Eliminate people. So if you can pick the players that are going to be in the Super Bowl, then you're going to make some good money. And you could do that on Underdog Fantasy using promo code Quest, get 100% deposit bonus. And help the channel out. We are affiliated with them. So it's a big help to the channel. You earn a special place in my heart here.
Yeah, that's two big positives. I mean, helping the channel, that's a big one, the biggest one in my opinion. And you get a little something for yourself. You're talking about a money match up to $100.
That's right, man. Money match up to $100.
Who's going to hand you $100 to bet on football?
That's it, man. So if you guys are just jumping in the live stream, I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday night. Go ahead and smash that like button as we're dropping nuggets here every minute. Smash that like button. Share it with your friends. Let them know what we're doing with Underdog Fantasy and football cards. Get them in on the action using that promo code QUEST. All right.
You want to set up one for some of the weekend games?
Oh, now you're talking my language. Let's see. What do we got? What are you feeling this weekend? Because I'm really liking these Saturday games. The Raiders at the Browns. The Browns are freaking volatile. Like everybody on the Browns right now has COVID except for Baker Mayfield, right?
I don't know. I didn't see anything about Nick Chubb. Is he sick?
No, Nick Chubb. No, I think Nick Chubb's okay. It's gonna be Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb and a couple offensive linemen. There's a lot of guys on the Browns that have COVID.
Yeah, Chubb's been pretty quiet, but do we know, is Kareem Hunt going to be playing this week? If Hunt's out, I like Chubb a lot, but unfortunately, when Hunt's in the lineup, it's a big handicap.
He did not practice on Wednesday. He's playing on Saturday. Something to monitor throughout the week. The ankle injury. My guess is that probably not going to be playing, or if he does, maybe a snap count.
So they got Chubber on the board yet?
Not yet. No. In fact, I found out that Saturday is a much better day to do the Sunday pick'ems per se.
I agree. I sometimes will do them earlier in the week, and they can work to your favor because, as we all know, that the lines do change, and they can change in your favor too. So, but that's also comes with a risk, obviously. If a guy's out or anything like that.
They have anybody up yet for? They got some guys up for the Colts here. That Saturday night, and I've been looking at some Michael Pittman cards lately, and I know that there's not Pittman. You like Michael Pittman?
I like Michael Pittman. Yeah, no, I think he's been unappreciated in the hobby, but if you've watched since the start of the season, his card prices are rising and people are buying his cards. You know, where I was getting, you know, his card for, let's say, $10, the same card's going for 15 plus now. So I haven't been buying as many as I was a few weeks ago, but he's the guy on that team that they're going to be throwing to.
Yeah, man. And I've seen him be so dominant at the point of catch this year. He's really taken a big step forward. And I mean, Carson Wentz, I mean, he's not guaranteed to be there next year either. I think a new quarterback would certainly bring a lot of hype for him in the offseason if they were to trade Carson Wentz. Draft I know that there's not a ton of excitement in the draft next year from talking to Carter, but I think that right now he's been pretty quiet. You know, you see a really dominant stretch from him here in week 7, 8, and 9, and 10, 11, 12, 13. It's been relatively quiet, hasn't found the end zone, but the guy is still incredibly dominant at the point of catch. He is basically their alpha wide receiver at this point. He's leading the team in targets. He's leading the team in air yards. I would argue to say that he's probably, as a receiver, leading the team in like receiving yardage as well. And he's a second-year player. He's a second-year player, and he's got a massive social media following. So all those things I like. And his dad had the grapefruit-size biceps when he played for the Bucks back in the late 90s.
He's a big dude, man. You can see it right on the screen there. 6'4", 223.
Boom. And that's 2020. I want to ask you, what card should I look at for 2020 if I were wanting to invest in Michael Pittman Jr.? See if they've gotten any auctions or listings on a Wednesday night here.
Maybe like, I don't know, check out a Prism Auto, maybe Prism Silver
Auto. Ooh, I feel like with Michael Pittman being on the Colts, you kind of have a little color match already in with the silver.
Yeah, definitely.
Hope I spell that right.
And actually, the optics have a nice color match too, because there's those blue scope and the other optics that are blue that are really nice. Ooh, look at that one. 8
out of 10. What's his jersey number? Number 11?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's number 11, right?
Yeah, so you find a low serial numbered card, not too low, and you can probably get in on that. That one, that blue rookie ticket auto is nice. It's a color match.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Saturday at 9:13, 3 days left. I like it too. I mean, the price point right now, this card, you comp it to his teammate Jonathan Taylor, is going for $150 to $200. If we were to comp him to a 2020 rookie in his class, like Justin Jefferson, the top of his class, or a CeeDee Lamb, you're going to find that card's over $100. That's the type of price range that this card would be in at its peak. And it's a perfect type of card for me that I have found is extremely liquid. It's a card that, you know, we talk about supply and demand. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. In terms of supply, the supply is very limited. So when the demand does spike for this player, it's going to be driven to a certain subset of card first, you know, and I would argue that unlike 2020, it's no longer the base Prism Optic Select. It is now, you know, the more rare on-card autograph cards, such as the rookie ticket auto.
Yeah, when you think about what cards you would buy for yourself, you know, they meet certain criteria. You know, this card meets quite a few criteria. You're going to check off the box because it's an optic. You're going to check off the box, it's serial numbered. You're going to check off the box, it's auto. And you're going to check off the box, it's a near color match. And you're going to check off the box that it's a rookie. So, you know, that card is, like you said, it's going to be one that people are really going to go for.
Boom, you check those boxes, man. So look at the sold. I mean, that's a listing, but let's take a peek at the sold items. This CeeDee Lamb has not been playing real great the past couple weeks either. Actually, Dak Prescott has been struggling the last few weeks in the passing game department. Let's look at some of these sold listings here from November here. And you can see this is probably closely comparable to that Michael Pittman Jr. It's $152. Now we have to take into consideration, like we said, it's not black and white. CeeDee Lamb, different draft capital, better athlete, arguably better athlete, better comparables, better college resume, much bigger market with the Dallas Cowboys. So those are things that are going to add to the value of this card as well. But when you take, I mean, it's not that Michael Pittman's card is not going to be $152, but it is very likely that that card could go up to $100, especially if the Colts make the playoffs and he makes a couple really big highlight plays, you know?
Yeah, and one key note is that, you know, not every player comes out of the gate smashing it in, but you look at the amount of improvement he's had, you know, as a 2020 rookie. This is essentially his first full season. So I think that there's a lot of good things on the horizon for a guy like that.
Oh, Blaine. What's up, guys? If you're just joining the live chat, welcome into the Card Dog episode 5, guys. We're talking supply and demand, underdog pick'ems, live betting, guys. The whole 9 yards. Blaine knows how to hit me in the soft spot, my soft spot for Tony Pollard. And yes, he did have a slight injury that held him out 1 week. Nothing major, but I love Tony Pollard, dude. I love Tony Pollard, 2019 rookie. Go back and watch Tony Pollard's combine workout. The cone drill, the high jump, the 40-yard dash, the little suicide runs that they have him do. Watch Tony Pollard do those workouts, and then you'll know what's up with him. Or you could just watch his highlights from whenever they played, not this past week, the week before, against New Orleans.
The cool thing about Tony Pollard cards is that people are investing now, even with him in a timeshare. If he were to ever become a bell cow running back, get the job to himself, you could imagine that they would go up quite a bit after that.
And I know in 2019 you're a big fan of the Prism Silvers, the Prism Silver Autos, the color match Prisms. And I am a big fan. I absolutely love it. I wish they would bring this back. I'm scrolling kind of quick because I'm trying to find one. I'm trying to find this right here. My new favorite card to target, the rookie ticket auto. But look how I love how they did the team logos in 2019. Every team has this beautiful round team logo, almost like a pin on the card. And it's a textured card, because I had one not too long ago, a Scotty Miller that I ended up selling. That was a while ago, actually. It was kind of long ago. But it's a wonderful card. It's textured. It's got the little button for the team logo. And I think if you could still buy low, like this is ending, like this is something you don't want to do as a seller, is in your auction at 3:08 p.m. And this dude's, he must just be busy. And he sold 107,000 cards, or 107,000 different feedbacks on his profile. So, dear God. But Thursday at 3:08, mark this one. This is one I'll be watching, because I don't care that it's red. I think it looks really good. And the on-card autograph of this alone, and the scarcity of this alone is worth what? I mean, at least $30, $40.
We talked about it a little last week and a little bit after the show, and that's the desire for people to have the on-card auto. And I think that over time, as more people get acclimated with the hobby, I think that there's going to be even a further appreciation for those, and a couple of sets that have those, like you said, the contenders. Now, some players have them, some don't, and I'm not sure what the reasoning on that is. But some sets that have like exclusively on-card autos, you're talking about the pen pals. And what's cool about those is those, Donruss Elite is like one of the first sets that comes out at the beginning of the year. And another one being the Origins. Origins has on-card autos as well.
Yeah, I do like those Origins on. Yeah, because there's something about knowing that the player held that card in their hand. They had it in front of them on a table, and they physically signed it, versus signing a book of stickers and then someone in the Panini factory placing stickers on the card, And
I'm not saying don't buy a card with a sticker auto, because I mean, the bulk of auto cards are going to have the sticker. It is what it is. But if you want an on-card auto, it's, like you said, it's got a little something extra to it, because the player signed the card himself. certain sets do have them a little bit more reoccurring than others do.
Yeah, and the thing is, I've routinely seen better values from the on-card autograph rookie ticket autos that I watch compared to the optic ones that are serial numbered that have a sticker. Like when people are going after these rookie ticket autos, they're definitely going after that on-card auto element of it. Just as, more so than they are the sticker auto.
You know what's interesting is I wonder why they did that, and I don't know if it's a surface issue or what, but the optic rated rookie autos have on card autos, but the optic rookie ticket autos for some reason have sticker autos.
Yeah, and it's not all of them. Like I've seen some optic rookie ticket autos that have on card autos as well. It just depends on the year, and for whatever reason, some of the parallels. I feel like maybe it was the event that Panini held, right? Panini held an event, got free drinks, hors d'oeuvres to play, wine and dining the players. They got them putting on 30 different jerseys so they can say they wore it, and then they're signing cards and signing books of stickers. And probably what it was is Panini realized after the fact that they wanted, their designer said, oh, but we got to have this parallel in there. Let's throw this parallel in there. This would be awesome. And so they add an extra parallel, but then the event's already passed. They never had the players sign those cards because the cards weren't ready. And so now they go back and say, wow, we got this whole book of stickers that we had Tony Pollard sign autographs for. We can just use some stickers and we can make that parallel. I think maybe that's how it happens. I don't know. It's just speculation. I'm sure not many of us know.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like these guys have really busy schedules, so you could imagine that it's probably a lot easier for them to just sign a thing, and a representative can pick the patches up and take it to Panini and be like, "Here, stick these on a card." Now, let me ask you this: what's your opinion on the frequency in which autographed cards come about? Because in the 90s, it was a pretty big deal to get an autograph card. I'm not saying that it's not now, but I feel like it's like every set has autographed cards. It didn't used to be that way. It was a really big deal to pull an auto now back then. And now I don't want to say it's common, but it's a little easier to get autos than it used to be.
I mean, when I was a kid, if you had to either know somebody who knew the player, or you had to go to an event and wait in line and get that player and take the card with you and get that player to sign it. Like, I do not remember very very few cards that we pulled, if any at all, to be honest with you, cards that we pulled from packs. I mean, we ripped hundreds of packs. We went to tons of card shows, tons of cards. My dad took me to a card show every month, probably every week during certain time periods, like in the early 90s. I don't ever remember pulling a card that had a autographed on it, like from the manufacturer. I don't wonder if that was something. But I do remember, like, every sports card show I went to, there was an athlete there that you could wait for, and you had something, he would sign it.
Yeah, in the late 90s, basketball had Skybox Autographics. It was a insert, and it was one of the few that I can remember that had like on-card autographs, not just autographs, but on-card autographs in the late 90s. And I don't remember there really being a ton of football signed cards. Like, if you go back to like Urlacher's rookie year, there was some autographs, but I mean, they were very hard to come by. There wasn't like a one per box type kind of thing like there is now. There's a guaranteed one per box or two per hobby box. That wasn't really a thing back then. It was still like this is a 1 in 2,000 packs thing, and there's no guarantees. You could buy 2,000 packs and still get none.
Oh, snap. You got any Brian Urlacher rookie cards?
I do.
What was that? Was that 2000? Did he have the same rookie year as Tom Brady?
01, I think, is Urlacher.
01?
Yeah. And that's the thing about, people talking about, you can't collect defensive players. I mean, go look up some Urlacher rookies and what they still sell for. I'm not talking like base set. I'm talking like, serial numbered or, some of the harder to find ones. They fetch a really good price still. And there wasn't a whole lot of sets back then. Now you got to remember, this is like the junk wax era. So some of these cards are going to be extremely common, but you look up like the Topps Chrome or the Bowman Chrome, or you look up the Auto, Upper Deck Auto.
That's Tom. Somebody put Brian Urlacher under the Tom Brady description. Oof. The SB Authentic PSA 9, brother. 543. There it is, man. The playoff contender. Rookie ticket auto, PSA 9.
Yeah, and if, that person probably got that for quite a bit less. There it is. Yeah, that's one of the big boys. If you were one of those people that listened to someone saying don't buy defensive players, you would have missed out on some money.
Look at the
Obviously
neck on that dude.
Not every linebacker is going to be Brian Urlacher, but there are going to be other Brian Urlachers.
Yeah,
Hall of Famers don't stop happening. And you don't even have to be a Hall of Famer to generate value, because it's really all about what the entry point you got in was and when you got out.
Very true. Very true. And
That'd
that's
be like
why
saying, don't buy stock because you can't afford Tesla. That would make no sense. People buy into penny stocks and they make a lot of money doing it.
Very true. You just have to be like on it. You have to be paying careful attention to where you buy in, because there's a lot more volatility, right? I mean,
ooh, that's a nice one.
That is nice. And it's numbered out of 2000 there to the. Look how young he looks, man. He doesn't look anything like that anymore.
He had his hair surgery. He has more hair now than he did in that picture.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I have to look up.
Right here in Chicago, they have a hair clinic, and if you drive down the highway by the airport, he's got like 20 billboards in a row.
It was the first thing that popped up whenever I typed in Brian Urlacher, is Brian Urlacher's hair treatment. Wow, man. Yeah, he's got a full head of hair, dude. I gotta send him a message on Twitter. See.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, I bet he wouldn't have thought he would have had hair, this late in his life.
How do you feel about the Dolphins, man, and Tua?
I'm actually rooting for them. I am rooting for them. I do hope that they somehow squeak into the playoffs. And it's funny because we talked about it last week. Like, before the season, I was not on board. I was not a Tua believer. And now that I am, I'm seeing a lot of people jumping ship and saying that, he won't make it in the league and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've watched him enough to think that he definitely will make it in the league. And outside of Jalen Waddle, they don't really have a lot going on that team. And he still finds ways to keep him in it.
Dude, they've won the last 5 in a row. Tua has been playing with a 80+% completion percentage. I think we talked about it last time. It was the highest in the league through the last few weeks. Now they get the Jets at home. Then they go at the Saints. With the way that their defense has been playing incredible. They're going to stomp the Jets this weekend at home. Then they're going at the Saints, which is a very beatable team this year. They could pull that off. Then you go at Tennessee, which, I mean, Tennessee, I mean, any given week, I mean, they've somehow, I think they've got incredible coaching. They've got an incredible core there that is just like kept them alive. They somehow find a way to win, and they're probably going to get Derrick Henry back here for the playoffs. But I think they're looking at winning at least the 3. They could win 2 or 3 of these games.
You know what's interesting is if you actually look back over the years, the past 5-6 years, somehow Miami finds a way to beat the Patriots, like more often than teams should, right? So that's quite an interesting thing. And let's not forget how football works. If the Patriots have their seed locked, they may not play starters, and the Dolphins could have an easy win that last week. So that's something to think about too. I mean, I'm really hoping that they win out and make it in. I think it would silence a lot of the non-Tuas, the people that say the naysayers, if you will.
Do you think that Tua, because he did have a lot of hype coming in, and there's a lot of big Tua fans out there. Do you think Tua is currently a buy low? Like, I have not compared his prices recently to that of Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, but I would imagine that they are a fifth, if not, lower than that of what their cards are.
Yeah, I've bought some recently, and I think that there's ones that can be had for a reasonable price. And one interesting thing is that if you're looking for color match too, there's a lot of these sets have green parallels, which makes it really nice too. And we always talk about the quarterback situation with it being a quarterback-driven league. I don't think that. I think they've had a change of heart about getting rid of him in the offseason or during the season. I mean, at the same time, could you have blamed them for wanting Deshaun Watson and getting 3 first-round picks, in exchange? But at the same time, I think they're seeing that they have a winner in this guy now.
Oof. There you go. How much do you think this one will go for, Steve?
This
is like creme de la creme right here. Cracked ice, rookie
22.
ticket auto.
And it's a PSA 10.
And it's a PSA 10. And it's color matched. Oh, man, this is a grail card right here.
I don't know, man. I would say 700 to $1,000.
Let's see if we can find a comp. I'm curious to see if we can find any 2020 contenders, cracked ice.
You know what's crazy too is when there's only 22 of them, it does make finding a comp harder. And how many of those 22 are a 10, right?
Just one buy it now for $10,000. Yeah, and how many of those are a 10? Whew. There, I mean, is this the same card?
That was 11 days ago. Well, that one's number 6 out of 22.
Did we just stumble upon a controversy? It's the same number. It's the same card, dude.
So maybe someone didn't pay.
48 bids. Well, if is this a consigned DC Sports 87?
They're reputable.
Huh.
What's the seller's name that's selling it now, though?
DC Sports 87, same dude.
So yeah, they must have not paid. It went for $6,000. Whoa, man.
6,100. Yeah. 48 bids.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the Herberts of that variety go for like what, 10 to 12?
Oh yeah, look. The zero winner was not a registered user.
So they deleted their account. Yeah.
Look. Someone was in. You think that's a shill bidder and it backfired on him? I mean, that's shill bidding right there. Look, the guy's account that deleted hopped in at 3,500 on December 1st when the card ended December 1st at 9:01 p.m. So my guess, and maybe this is like, I don't want to think negatively of this guy. You said maybe you purchased from him before and maybe he wasn't doing this, but I mean, maybe at this time here, December 1st in the morning, there was no bids from the morning of December 1st then till 5:30 p.m. and he started panicking, thinking that this auction was going to end around $3,200, and so somebody came in, started bidding it up as a zero feedback then deleted user. So that's shill bidding right there.
It could be, or it could have just been that, he bought the card and then his wife put a gun to his head. So realized he wasn't going to be able to take the kids to see Santa Claus this year. Or, it could be that. I'm not going to say that doesn't happen. I'd be ignorant to say that it doesn't happen, but it is quite interesting that maybe the person didn't necessarily not have any feedback. It could just be that since it was a deleted account, that it zeroed everything out too.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I'm curious to see some comps here on Jalen Hurts and see what. I mean, these cracked ice rookie ticket autos really. All right, December 9th, there's the Jalen Hurts comparable PSA 9, cellular grade. So maybe you could double or triple this. That's, I mean, 1,400. That's about comparable, I think.
What's up, Maddie?
What's cracking, Matt? Jets crazy in the house. Raven Invest. Joel Strugelmeyer. Steeler 96. Smash that like button, guys. What is going on? Happy Wednesday night. We're just, stumbling upon some shill bidding, looking at, just some cracked ice quarterback rookie ticket auto cards that none of us can afford, but we want to just compare them to see what their prices are at. Oh, I mean, could go take my card to CarMax and get a check for it and then go buy this card.
Yeah, that's those are essentially the Grail card.
Wife will be thrilled.
She'll be like, yeah, you can skate on the slab all the way to the grocery store to pick up the groceries.
Oof. I'll have to call.
Yeah, James, I agree that they are good. I do use them pretty often.
What's up, man? Lots of laughs. Welcome to the quest. I think you're a sir. I'm trying to figure out which little picture there, man, but I dig it. Been collecting and searching out what to look for. Trying to make some Christmas shopping money. Got 4 weeks of fantasy football left. Just remember, lots of laughs. It is much easier to buy a card than it is to sell one. And you got to think of the process involved in buying a card, getting it received to you, listing it, and then selling it. And so you got to want to make sure you target the right player and then also get in at the right price point and something that when the demand spikes for that, is going to see a premium jump, because that card is scarce.
I definitely want to chime in on that topic. You do have to be patient. I mean, you could have, the most desirable card, and it could still take you a couple months to sell it. Somebody might want to buy it the next day, but they might not be offering you what you want for it. So you really gotta be patient, and that's why we always stress, like, only put what you can afford to into the investing. Treat it the same as if you're investing in stocks or investing in precious metals, or it's money that is set aside only for investing, and you will get a return if you're doing it correctly, but there's often not like an immediate turnaround. And I can say that since I just got back into the hobby myself, back in August, that was a learning experience for me too, because I was so excited to be back into collecting and trading that I bought like 100 cards right away. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Let's sell. And I was just like, okay, they're selling, but they're not selling very quickly. So you will sell them, I promise. It just takes a little time.
I was unable to find any Joe Burrow cracked out. Well, I found one. It was raw, did not have an autograph, still sold for 1,100. Holy crap. Here we go. November 1st.
Oh, man. What?
What's up, Brian? Check it out, man. 75K. Justin Herbert. Cracked ice. The numbered out of 22. PSA 10. DNA 10. Got his DNA on it. $50 expedited shipping. Shoot,
here's one thing to think about. If you're not yet investing in cards and you're thinking about it, people are like, "Oh, the boom's over because last year it was so hot and now it's cooling off." I mean, everything cools off, but it gets hot again, and it's not that it's not hot now. It's just in comparison to a year ago, sure, but it's become mainstream. I mean, guys like Kevin Durant, celebrities, are in on the collecting game. They're buying high-end cards. They're collecting their favorite players. If they're investing, if millionaires are investing in trading cards, that should tell you something.
AJ Dillon, one of one AJ Dillon collector. Yeah. I caught a portion of his live Instagram stream where he was going through a PSA reveal, a bunch of cards he sent to Justin Herbert and had him autograph, and then he sent them to PSA. And yeah, he was talking about, one of the questions was, hey, have you talked to Aaron Jones about cards? He said, yeah, man, talked to Aaron Jones. Yeah, he's gotten a couple, in fact. And so it's just going to become more and more prevalent. It's just one of those things, like people that were in it for the quick buck, and it was so black and white. And that's the thing for a lot of people, for a lot of simpletons. All right, I use that word simpleton, that maybe cards aren't for you, because there's a lot of complexity and a lot of nuances in cards that do not apply to fantasy football. It's not a draft or don't draft, pick up a player or don't pick up a player. There's a lot more complexity in cards that you have to take into consideration. And that's why I started this channel and why we make our videos every week and talking about this topic, because there's always something new to talk about. And there's always rabbit holes to dig down into, to uncover more of these hidden gems. These market inefficiencies is kind of a lot of what we look for in cards, is market inefficiencies within certain sets, certain players' cards, and whether it's rookie cards or even their veteran card, even their second year, third year cards, when those rookie cards become too expensive and you have second, third year cards of those players that are still very rare, case hits, numbered cards, numbered out of less than 100, still have on-card autographs, have really cool colors, designs, patterns, what have you, that we look for.
What's funny, Andy, is you look how far they've come with some of these parallels and these autos, and you joked earlier about the DNA grade. It makes you wonder in the future, like, what are they going to put, like somebody's fingerprint or like a slice of their skin on the card? Like, how far can they take it? I mean, there's really no end to how far they can take it, honestly. And going back to, I wanted to bring this up earlier. The gentleman we were talking about last week, Jeff, the millionaire card investor that you guys spoke about, possibly being a fraud, that gentleman, he said on one of his shows this past week that a player's fantasy performance or his weekly fantasy or weekly football performance doesn't directly impact the card value. And I would have to disagree with that a lot, like
A lot.
100% a lot. Like maybe that wasn't the case whenever, but it's for sure the case now. And all you have to do is watch as many auctions as I do, or even as 10th as many as I do to see that. I mean, guys like Mike White would have never sold a trading card in 2021 if that wasn't true, you know?
Exactly. I mean, all fantasy football is their on-field performance, and just quantified in stats, and turned into a point system. That's a ridiculous comment. I might have to make like a response video or something, but it sounds like a lot of time to dig it up. But I mean, look, it's because the guy is not focused on football. He dabbles in it. He barely knows what's going on, clearly, because if you watch the research that I present on a weekly basis, you just said it yourself, Steve, because you're on the quest. You're looking at these hundreds of auctions. You actually have to get in the weeds and look at the activity after a game happens, after these players perform on the field. And the evidence is clear, man. You're absolutely right. The players that go out, D'Ernest Johnson. Most people don't even know who he is, except for fantasy football enthusiasts or big Cleveland Browns fans. He stepped in 1 week for an injured Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and freaking dominant, had an incredible game on a Thursday night football game. Well, you could immediately go and see that Wednesday he had 5 rookie card sale. Tuesday he had literally 0. And then Thursday he has that game and there's 150 sell, and his rookie ticket auto values go from $20 on Tuesday to $100 on Friday morning. And if somebody's going to sit here and tell me that his performance doesn't affect the value of his rookie cards.
If you went on eBay right after that game, there was only 10 rookie ticket autos listed, and they were all $120. So someone either had them and was sitting on it, or they bought them all the ones got bought, and then new ones got listed for $120, or they got removed. The auctions got canceled, or the listings got canceled, and they put them back up, and they were selling. They were selling for $120. Now, could you buy one for $30 this week? Probably.
Yeah. I mean, Nick Chubb came back. Kareem Hunt came back, and that's personally why I didn't, or just Nick Chubb, anyways. That's personally why I didn't invest in D'Ernest Johnson. But what I did do is wow, this cat had a really good game. Let me go investigate his athletic background a little bit more and see if this is a one-game wonder type of scenario. Is this a scenario because the Browns have a better than average offensive line, because they have a run-centric or run-first coach in Kevin Stefanski? They're always going to set up the play action pass for Baker Mayfield. And if you want to set up play action, you got to establish the run. And that's what they do on the Browns, so you could put in a lot of different NFL running backs in that system, and they will succeed, And what I found was that, he doesn't have an impressive athletic profile. He wasn't this, big time college running back. And I think part of that is cool. He went out and had the game of his life that Thursday night, but the chances of that happening again are pretty slim unless the other running backs get injured again. And his opportunities, in the long run, to become a Hall of Famer, he's got a very tough road to get there. So I'm not going to pay an extended premium Like, sure, I'm going to pay $100 all day long for a Derrick Henry or an Adrian Peterson level running back rookie ticket auto, but I'm not going to pay that for a D'Ernest Johnson.
Another guy that kind of fits the bill with this conversation, Marcus Callaway. Now,
boom.
I think that he's still worth investing in, and maybe still wait a couple weeks. But if you look, for those of you that don't know, his rookie ticket auto is actually, I think he only has 2 verifiable rookie cards. He has a rookie ticket auto, and he has a Donruss or an Optic rookie auto. So he has 2 rookies, and they're both auto, right? After his early season breakout, I mean, people were paying $70 to over $100, $150 for him. I've seen the Contenders auto going for $9 to $30. There's a buy it now, I think, for $10 right now. And I think if you maybe even wait a couple more weeks, if they keep having, if he keeps having down games, but I think he's a guy that when they bring a quarterback in can have a pretty big impact on a game. And there's no saying that Michael Thomas will be back in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think that Michael Thomas is not going to be back in New Orleans next year. And I like the Marquez Callaway pick because you have in his rookie card investment is fairly black and white. The options are very limited. It's either that Prism Draft Picks autograph card or it's the rookie ticket auto. And the rookie ticket auto has the Saints logo and stuff on it. So, of course, that's like the go-to. That's going to be the more valuable one. And preseason, man, going back to preseason week 3, I was like, the reports out of training camp are good. It's like, guys, you guys should get on. They're selling for $20, but this is all the cards that were made for him, rookie ticket. Sure enough, next week, 3-touchdown game with Jameis Winston. In preseason, his rookie cards went wild. They exploded, just like I'm seeing a comment here from James about Micah Parsons. Go and look up the sold items for Micah Parsons this past week, 2021. All of his cards aren't even out yet. But for defensive players, he's seen a similar response to what Mac Jones saw for a quarterback. There's been a huge demand spike for Micah Parsons as he's like one of the sack leaders in the NFL. The dude's a stud. I think Micah Parsons is very much on a Hall of Fame track so far in his career through his rookie season.
I think Parsons, Diggs, and maybe even a few other players prove the point that people are interested in defensive players. And the market obviously does favor quarterbacks, but these exceptional players that could be at any position are collectible and are profitable, as long as you're in at the right time. If you bought Parsons rookie card auto of any kind, halfway through the season, you're rolling in money right now because people are paying top dollar for his cards right now. And the best ones aren't even out yet.
Yeah, and his premiums. I think I've figured out what it is, Steve, with this guy, sports card investor. I think he just overpays for his cards. And I think that he doesn't know the sport very well. So he doesn't know how to prospect good athletes. He's clearly not subscribed to my channel or watches any of my content. And so what it is he's overpaying for a different quarterback. I'm sure it's got to be quarterbacks, right? He's overpaying for base PSA 10 cards of these quarterbacks, wondering why they don't go up in value after they go out and put up a great week in fantasy football. And that's because you paid way too much to begin with. And even if your chart said that was down from where it was at in the beginning of the season in 2020, does not mean that that's the low point for that card. That card in the beginning of the season in 2020 was way overpriced. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and these guys continue to overpay for these PSA 10s because they're caught up in that mentality, and they're left. A lot of them have been left holding the bag, and a lot of them perception has changed to the fact that the modern football cards flipping is no longer viable or possible or doable or in like a real thing, because it's their perception. It's their perception. It's the kind of cards they bought and what they bought in at.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't throw a dart and hope that you made the right call. Like you said, that it is a complex system. There's a lot of factors involved, and simply having a lot of money and dumping it at something isn't necessarily going to net you results. Whether your bankroll for investing for the week is $20 or 200, you can end up seeing gains on your money when it's done properly. That's almost a guarantee. And we talked about Parsons, we talked about Diggs, we talked about Urlacher. Go pull up a Justin Tucker rookie card, and I think you'd be shocked at what a kicker Justin Tucker's rookie cards go for.
One of the best kickers in the league, man.
But still, it's still, imagine if you had his cards sitting around, right? Would someone have told you to hang on to it or that it's going to be worth something someday? Probably not.
Seen some pretty good 2013 Justin Tucker sales.
I mean, when I looked the other day, there was 75, 100. There was some big money ones. There was more than that on a couple of them.
Oh wow, man! Yeah, his autograph card number to 49 for $350. His Prism, his 2012, 2013 Prism, black for $100. Yeah, man, people are buying Justin Tucker cards. I mean, but it's based on his fantasy performance, man, because I mean, that's because he makes kicks. He makes long kicks, and he's consistent, and he's clutch, and he's been made kicks in very clutch situations. He's the GOAT Raven kicker.
You know what's interesting, too, and here's something that never gets talked about, right? So when his market blossoms late, okay, so a guy like a kicker or a guy that's like a late career bloomer, here's one thing about his cards is they might have been printed just as much as everyone else in the set, but you and I both know that not everyone hangs on to what they would call a common, or not everyone hangs on to every card that they have. Some people send them as bonus cards in their packages, when they're shipping cards on eBay and stuff like that. So when people write rare in the description, I don't think they're lying. I don't think that everyone held on to the Justin Tuckers and some of these other players that, that kind of came along a little bit later as far as being collectible.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, that's something that you have to definitely take into consideration is like kind of put yourself in the collector's shoes of that player to think, when they did blossom and when the type of people that would be holding on to those cards. And man, going back to this SCI thing, dude, you cannot take the vintage 1980s card investment strategy of buying PSA 10, Hall of Fame GOAT players and apply that to modern cards. You just can't do it. The whole PSA 10 base Prism thing, overpaying for those is just such a bad idea. And I don't care what that chart says of where that card is at. I still, in most cases, from what I've seen, comparing those to the rare raw cards and looking at the price differences of those cards between when a player breaks out from before and after that dominant performance is a noticeable difference in value based on that performance that you probably are not going to see in that base Prism PSA 10.
Let's mention this too, and we kind of talked about this before the show. Back in that day, right, and anyone that's been collecting since 80s, 90s, early 2000s knows that what people used to gauge the card value was Beckett magazine, right? Beckett Magazine was a price guide that came out monthly, and it had updated prices in it. And if the card went down in value, there was a value with a little down arrow next to it. If it went up in value, there was a little up arrow next to the current value. That's not a thing anymore. And when I started collecting over the summer again, knowing that I had to look at sales comps and I had to look at a couple different websites to see what they were selling for on this website and that website, and see what the current cards were up for listed at the moment. The dynamic is so different now that there's no way you can compare the two. The players' performance on a week-to-week basis is 100% indicative on price fluctuation and value. It absolutely is.
Yep.
Because eBay is the barometer, essentially. eBay sales are the barometer for price. Now, if a guy has a big week, it doesn't mean that his cards selling for $10 last week are going to sell for $10 this week. So yeah, there are adjustments along the way, but you can kind of see those when you look at what the dates are. I mean, $9 is a pretty good buy in my opinion.
This card got up to $100, man, when he broke out in the preseason last year. Yeah, don't
All
mind
they
me.
need is a quarterback. I mean, he's a big dude, and he's actually pretty good. He's very underrated.
Which quarterback?
I mean, I think that we talked about it a few weeks ago. I think that that's somewhere that Jimmy G could end up going.
Oh, Jimmy G's had a resurgence this year, man.
Saints, I think, are like a dark horse team for some of these free agent quarterbacks because, they could even get a Deshaun Watson. Who knows? They have a stellar running game. They have a good defense. You could make the argument that maybe their receivers are questionable, but I don't think that they've even gotten a fair shake, to be honest with you, because they haven't had, a legitimate person throwing them the ball. Like Winston blew up the first couple weeks, and I think that once they honed in on stopping him, it was kind of over after that.
I gotta leave these two. I can't. It wouldn't just feel right. I would feel dirty if I grabbed them. Those are still cheap though too.
That's
12
really
and
cheap.
$12.99. Look at that! Look at that price spike. 25. Oh, but it's not based on his performance.
What's funny is
16.
Here's the thing: is we've talked about this before, but you can never reiterate it enough. Get in ahead of time, right? And there's all the indicators. Like you said, the market and how they've been playing, and sometimes it does take a few weeks of a player doing well for their card values to go up, and that works to your favor. I mean, I didn't really know about ComC until you talked about it on your show, and then Raven kind of walked me through it and how to buy and sell on there. And at one point, I had all 3 or 4 or 5 different cards. I had Jonathan Taylor the whole first page, and I had Michael Pittman the whole first page, and then I got the Darnell Mooney the whole first page on some of his cards. And obviously, you got to pick your spots, but you gotta on these guys. You can't wait till they're the league leader in rushing and scoring to start buying in.
Yeah, you cannot wait. Well, I mean, you can, but then at that point, you're paying all those premiums, baked in. And if you would have just got in early, man, that's the key, man. It's so key. And you may have to get in way early. Like Sean from Raven Invest, he's great at getting in way early. Like he's in on Kyle Trask right now, And I go and study Kyle Trask's college resume, and I'm like, damn, this guy was pretty good. I'm like, this guy looked good. I mean, his highlights and his film and stuff, like, man, if this guy got a starting chance in the NFL, he's big, he can really throw the ball well. I could definitely see a demand spike big time for this dude. So it's gonna be nice. Like, he'll be totally in the shadows. And unless you're on this live stream right now and smashing that thumbs up button, then you may miss out on Kyle Trask, because once he prisms and these contenders rookie ticket autos come out, his cards are going to be dirt cheap this coming up summer, and because nobody's going to be thinking about him unless Brady retires. Brady's not going to retire.
The thing that reminds me, that Trask reminded me of, and I'm not saying that he'll necessarily be that guy, but Aaron Rodgers, okay? He's going to be playing behind one of the all-time greats, okay? And Rodgers actually was stuck behind Favre for quite a while. And, when he finally did play, now this is the funny thing is, I was saying from day one, that guy's going to be better than Favre. And I actually have a lot of friends that are Green Bay fans, some of them that live in Wisconsin, that were saying, there's no way, man. There's no way. We're screwed now. We're screwed. I'd say he's pretty good now. And I was able to get him in my fantasy keeper league his rookie year because no one else believed in the guy. And I just held on to him for a while. So, I mean, yeah, that just goes to show you getting in early, it does pay off. And Trask is essentially almost following the same type situation. He's going to be playing behind Brady for a couple years. And then he's going to inherit a system with skilled young players in it.
He's going to inherit one hell of an opportunity, right? So here's something I've been looking at lately, Steve, is I've been coming on here to PFF and looking at the finishes. And so I've been I really went down this rabbit hole Monday morning. And so I actually I'm very tight on time this week, and wasn't able to get out a video, like a takeaways video from week 14, which is why I was kind of asking you about your big takeaways for week 14 earlier. But what I did was I came in here and I can see who had the best finishes in terms of wide receiver, but I can also see who's the best wide receiver overall for the season. So I can see Deebo Samuel's the number 2 overall wide receiver for the season, and he's had some really good finishes in some weeks that we saw some really nice demand spikes for. But week 14, number 28, super quiet. So then I go and okay, let me see if I can find some Deebo Samuel auctions that fly under the radar this week. Same thing with Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill was a perfect example for me because he's been really in the shadows since week 10, Yeah,
I think actually I picked up my first Deebo card this week. And we talked about Deontay Johnson last week. Think about this. Look at the names above and below him. Everyone that watches football or plays fantasy football knows those guys, right?
all of them.
I would say the least known guy out of that group is Deontay Johnson. And then Hunter Renfrow, too. I mean, Hunter Renfrow, most of his good games have been, over the past 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So, if he would have that same early season trajectory, he'd be much higher up on the list.
Yeah, so let's this is a this is a great example. I mean, he's not the most athletically gifted guy, but he does have family ties to the football game, pretty big size market in Vegas, a team that definitely has a potential to make the playoffs. Now they're in a really tough division. They're 6-7 now, so they're struggling as of late. They're now 1-3 in their division, so they've got a lot of work ahead of them, especially in that division, man. That AFC West division is no joke. But I want to see if people are actually buying Hunter Renfrow rookie cards after this past week of, number 3 wide receiver finish. after 14-7, 55, 14-10. So he has been fantasy relevant the last 6 weeks. This week was a really good one. Maybe he helped some people get into the playoffs of their fantasy leagues, that kind of stuff.
A couple weeks ago, I picked up a couple of his Prism Silver rookies, and because I was able to get in early, I was able to price them on eBay as the lowest price one and still make a profit on it. So that's the advantage of diversifying your portfolio, if you will.
Yeah, and look, I mean, this is the thing, and people say it's not. You cannot sit here and say that it's not based on his performance. So look at when the highest sale in the last 90 days was today for Hunter Renfrow. Today, someone spent $500 on his cracked ice rookie ticket auto. PSA 10.
Yeah, I mean, from an investing standpoint, I would agree that that's not necessarily the way to buy. But, from a selling standpoint, that's absolutely true. You're going to generate the most revenue on your sale when that player has a good week. There's no doubt about that.
Yep. And now we look at, okay, let's say that's a PSA 7, so that's a bad example. Now we look at something like this, 2019 Optic rookie ticket auto, $50. That was December 9th per se. And I'm just looking at rookie ticket autos here. So this was heading into last week. I'm just trying to pin down just a rookie ticket auto, like maybe this one, December 8th. Yeah, this is an auction, 24 bids, $43. That was last Wednesday. But if we were to go back on here to, is the pages at the top? I want to see I guess this is all the way back to September, December 8th. It's just because there's not a lot of supply of that card. So maybe I used a bad example because there's just not a lot of. But here's one comparable that raw that was probably sold, accepted for around $30. So absolutely gone up over the course of the season.
I think he's another example of a guy that.
There you go.
Maybe last year or whenever, not being DK Metcalf or any of those guys from 2019, maybe they got stashed in the back of somebody's box. And I think that's why you don't see a lot of them for sale, because, when a guy's not hot, people, are sleeping on the cards. And the few people that held on to them, they're able to cash in.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Over the course of a month to 2 month period, Steve, you could have doubled your money easily on Hunter Renfrow, because the beginning of November, October, you were able to get these cards for absolutely dirt cheap. This was, before the Henry Ruggs incidents. This was, right around when that happened. But look at how he was performing. I mean, he was a 20 to 30 to 40, ranked receiver in the league. And then you had the Henry Ruggs incident, and just, Derek Carr obviously starting to favor him more, lean on him more. He becomes more reliable. He's kind of taking that next step in his career to being more of more of an every down receiver. He almost like Derek Carr's Julian Edelman in a way,
Yeah, or Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, or Jordy Nelson. And now all of a sudden you can see that his fantasy finishes go up. He becomes a better performer on the field, which means he's better in fantasy football, which means his rookie card values have gone up. Clearly, I mean, we look at the value jump here from that time
one
period
for $13. Someone got.
Yeah, till now in an auction that ended last Wednesday for a base one for $43 with 24 bids, you know?
Yeah, he's stepped it up huge. But I think especially with Waller not being on the field, and even when Waller's been on the field, he hasn't quite been himself. I think that Renfro is the the red zone guy now.
That's true. Waller's missed time as well, and I was really hoping that Foster Moreau would step up more. And obviously, he's very young as well, and he has stepped up in certain games, but it hasn't been as consistent as Hunter Renfro's been over the last several weeks. And that's just a good example because Hunter Renfro is not a guy you look at and you're like, oh man, the dude is so fast. He's so electric. He's so athletic. It's not like watching DK Metcalf or some of these other receivers. He's not flashy, but yet we still see a demand and the Raiders likely aren't going to make the playoffs, and yet we still see a demand spike and a value increase in his rookie cards, in the more rare rookie cards, the ones that the supply can literally disappear in an instant kind of deal, until someone that's held them and now watching this on TV going, hey, maybe I can make some money on these Hunter Renfro cards I've been holding for the last 6 months or whatever. That was my guy. That was my guy coming out of college. That was, and that's how it is, man. And then you make money on those. You're stocking up on them,
Yeah, there was, there's somewhere out there was a guy that's always been a Renfro collector and probably got, a handful of those for maybe $5 or $10.
Yeah, you could have became a Hunter Renfro super collector for cheaper than some defensive players, even,
And if he needed to or wanted to, he's 4-timing his money right now.
Right on, man. Well, shout out to what's going on, Brandon Kavanaugh in the chat. What's good, dude? Evening, sir. Wow, dude, Steve, this has been a really fun live stream. We've covered some incredible topics, man. For you guys out there, Steve, I want you to give us a testimonial of the value that you get from the Patreon membership that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we go back to the very beginning, kind of what brought me to the channel was, the advice that's on your show pertaining to what cards to look for in auctions and stuff like that. You put out the Friday auction sniper article, and that's for the Patreon members, and that's a big one too, because if you're investing in cards and you got someone looking out for you as to what cards to look for ahead of everyone else, that's a big thing. You've talked about the Van Jefferson play. You've talked about, all these other guys that have panned out and have definitely helped people make money. That's a huge thing. And then financial aside, like the community is outstanding. I talk to quite a few guys in the Discord pretty regularly. You and Raven and Jets Crazy, Matt, definitely have become friends of mine through this. And I think it's an awesome thing. And it's still in its early stages, so it can only go up from here. But I do encourage people, if you're into the hobby and you just like a good community, to get involved, because I'm glad I did, and plan on being here for a while.
Awesome. That's what's up, Steve. That's right. And most of these guys in the chat. I still
need my shirt though, so I can rep.
Oh, it's coming, dude. That's the other thing, man. You get other benefits after, I think I said it for like 6 months of membership. There's 2 different tiers as well, and so I will send you guys some free merch and hook you up. And I know Santa Claus has arrived early for some of you guys, and keep your eye out on your mail for some of you other guys. Santa Claus is coming. So, but yeah, man, until next Wednesday, it's been fun, man. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back again next Wednesday, and I'll be back on YouTube before then. So until then, I'll see you guys in that next one. Have fun tomorrow night. It's going to be a huge game. I'll see you guys over there. Peace.
Looking forward to it. Good night, everyone.